Hey, out there, Glasgow, Barron County. Josh Fields here, candidate for City Council. Sitting here today with a good friend of mine, Cody Smith. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing this morning?
Doing pretty good. A little early in the morning for me, but hey,
Early.
it's sunny outside. We got
We're looking out.
we got a little audience here.
Looking out on the City of Glasgow as well. An overview of the city, so that's kind of nice.
Yes, beautiful.
Nice sight this morning.
Got my son Parker. Will you show everybody the beautiful scenery of Glasgow where we're at here today, buddy? Got TJ Health Pavilion out there, overlooking the shopping center, everything. Even got our little dog Pam Bully up here, don't we? But yes, beautiful day out. All right, but yeah, this is going to be one a mini series. I'm going to go through and talk to as many people as I can throughout the city. Just want to start out with you, Cody. You got a lot going on for you. Just turned 18, right?
Right.
First year voter.
First year voter.
Are you nervous about that?
That is a little nerve-wracking, not gonna lie.
Well, tell me what's your feelings about elections and how it is for you, and the importance of it, what it means to you, not only for you, but we got a city election, we got a Senate election, and most importantly a presidential election. And you'll be voting this year. Just what's your thoughts on it?
Right, so it's going to be a little bit different because it's never something that I've done before. It's never something that I've really had to think about because I've never really had the opportunity to vote. But voting, as I see it, is really an important aspect of our lives as American citizens because we have the choice. We're living in a democracy. So if we want something to be changed in our community, then we need to elect the correct officials in order to do so and get these changes made within our community and see a better Glasgow or see a better United States as a whole.
Man, I couldn't say that better myself. That's pretty good. I believe you're a pro at this interview and stuff. This is my first go around with this. I had to take a few notes of this, but what I wanted to elaborate, before we go any further, you are a senior at Barron County High School this year, correct?
Yes.
What accolades you got, going into your senior year? Join any clubs?
Oh yeah.
And things that you deal with?
Yeah, I've got quite a bit of things that I'll be going into as a senior, and it'll probably be my busiest year as a whole. Not only am I doing things such as extracurriculars like the Foreign Language Club, which I've been president of for the last 3 years.
But 3 years? Mm-hmm. Wow.
But however, 2 years technically, but this will be my 3rd year. I did Beta Club last year. I'm thinking about joining Social Studies Club. But there's also a whole other group of things that I'll be doing, specifically language related. For example, I've signed up for a national scholarship, possibly, to study Arabic for 10 weeks online. And so this is a competitive scholarship called NSLAY, but it'll just be online for 10 weeks. And if I get accepted, I can study Arabic for free for 10 weeks online, paid for by the U.S. government. And so that would be amazing. I'm self-studying for the AP Spanish language and AP Spanish literature exams. I'm self-studying Japanese. I'm taking a Chinese course at school as well. And I'm just working on my Spanish as well with a tutor online from Guatemala. So I'm doing a lot of things with language right now. It's going to be an ultra busy year, as well as working quite a bit of hours per week. So it's going to be a lot on my plate, but it's going to be a great year.
So what you're telling me, you're already putting in the work for school, and it starts on the 24th. They ain't even got here yet.
Right.
So it's just a year-round thing for you going on right now.
Oh yeah, it never ends.
Never. So how many languages that you know?
Well, I wouldn't say
or can speak.
Can speak, yeah. So Latin, Spanish, and French are probably my top languages. And so, for example, I self-studied for the AP Latin exam, which is a college-level exam, and got the highest score of a 5, because I scored 1 through 5. So I got full credit for that. I got a 5 on the AP French exam. And then I've just had other numerous experiences with speaking those languages. For example, I went to the University of Kentucky in Lexington, Kentucky, spent a week there, and spoke only Latin for a whole week. Signed an oath that I would speak nothing but Latin with a group of 70 participants, and had that opportunity. so speaking Latin, I've been able to get myself across, even if it's not really taught in that way. I've been able to train the speaking skills, and I believe I've had great benefits coming from that in understanding Latin better. And then French, obviously, I did the AP exam, got the high score of a 5. I spoke French a little bit when I went to New York. I actually met a French police officer and was able to use French with him.
Really?
And so I'm able to use French pretty comfortably. And then this year with Spanish, I'm working very hard on my Spanish. I really feel like it's going to surpass my French because I'm working so hard with the Guatemalan tutor. We have hours lessons. I've done 7 hours of Spanish in some weeks this summer. So it just really depends on what I feel like per week, how much Spanish I put in. But we do our lessons completely in Spanish, and I really do feel like I'm able to get across. If there's something I don't understand, I can get myself across in Spanish to get myself to understand without resorting to English.
Yeah.
So it's getting better, and it's getting a lot easier. And then I'm obviously working with literature, and then the Spanish literature and AP exams. So that's gonna help a lot as well. So I really think my Spanish will get better than my French. And then I do speak some Chinese and Japanese, but those are definitely more basic.
Mm-hmm.
I took a year of Chinese, and although I won an award at Western WKU for a Chinese speech, I wouldn't say that my Chinese skills are up to par with French or Spanish, and then Japanese is up and coming. So it's been up and coming since January of this last year, and I can understand a lot of basic stuff, a lot of basic sentence structures, and create my own sentences and express myself in them.
So what you're saying, if I need to go up here to Shogun, I need to take you with me, and
Maybe
you can
Shogun.
translate.
Definitely the Spanish store that we've got right over here. We can go in there.
I know a little Spanish, rojo.
Rojo red.
That's what everybody calls me. And the only French I know is fries. You can get those at McDonald's,
Yeah.
But I want to touch base. You said you was in Lexington. Was it last summer for 2 weeks?
Last summer for a week.
Had to sign notes to do nothing but speak Latin and everything. And I'm assuming that there was a school trip. Just you, no parents, no anything. Just you in the big city.
Yeah, it was me in the big city. It wasn't even school related. It wasn't even related to Barron County at all. In fact, I was working with, and I was invited by some professors at the University of Kentucky, 2 internationally recognized professors, Dr. Terrence Tunberg and Dr. Elena Mingova. Dr. Terrence Tunberg, actually last year, I was able to conduct research with. I took a course on research and had to write a 5,000 word research paper.
Wow.
And so it had to be my original research. It had to be an original project that never necessarily proved a point, but added knowledge to the field where there's a gap. And I really feel that there's a gap in how we can teach our students to speak Latin, because Latin's not taught with that goal. Obviously if you walk into a modern language class, you're going to see students that are wanting to read, write, listen, and speak the language, but where no one speaks Latin now, we more focus on reading. However, speaking Latin has its benefits, and if you can speak Latin, then you're going to be quite better at reading.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned from my experience, going to that seminar in Lexington and just doing it on my own with people online. I found that there's a lot of benefits to that, but a lot of teachers aren't necessarily trained on how to get their students speaking Latin. They're teaching their students to read Latin. So I conducted research with Dr. Terrence Tunberg and a PhD student from the University of Kentucky who's studying education, Laura Manning, on how we can implement spoken Latin in the 21st century classroom, and made my own checklist, conducted my own study with 3 different textbooks to see how well these textbooks would pair with spoken Latin goals.
So how would you rate the whole experience, besides, the speaking the Latin and then, getting to work with the professors and everything, taking a young boy out of the small town in Glasgow and throwing him in the environment of Lexington for a week? I mean, how was that? I mean, culturally, from where we are here in Glasgow, the small town, the business, and I mean, you're only there a week, but if I go somewhere, I can tell a big difference in places, how things is ran, especially. I mean, what all did you enjoy besides the educational, part of it?
Well, I think also the people involved in the educational stuff had a big part with it, because putting myself in a big city, I've never been in that situation before. So when I got there, that could have been overwhelming. However, the people, there were about 70 different professors and people, teachers, professors, people in college. There were just different people of all different sorts there. Some of them had been to this convention before, and they were coming from around the world. I met a guy from Australia that was there. because people come around the world to speak Latin because they don't do this in a lot of other places.
Yeah.
And so it's a big thing at the University of Kentucky. But had I just thrown myself into the big city, I did in a lot of ways, that could be overwhelming. However, there was a community there. And that community of people, the community people studying Latin, they were there to help each other because a lot of people didn't live in Lexington. So they were in the same shoes as I was. That was a new environment for them as well. And so they would invite me out to dinner. We would go places. For example, I had lunch at Chick-fil-A with some of the participants there. And so I was really invited and felt included. And so they helped me get over that sense of the big city. And if I ever needed anything, I know that those people were there to kind of help me along in the big city. So I did have a community there to help me, as well as the professors were also there because they understood that I was 16 years old and had never been in a big city before.
Well, and I think that's what's missing a lot with the world today. I mean, we see all this violence and rioting throughout, the country. I mean, it's here in one of our largest city in the state, in Louisville. But it's good to know there's still great people out there that, you get to know just like that. You can lean on, we have a lot of that here in Glasgow, that you can just walk right up to and throw your hand up. They're going to throw it right back. Don't know who they are.
Right.
But you know that they care, and that's one of the great aspects I love about Glasgow, and I'm glad you had, that great
aspect when I went to Lexington.
Yeah, so I mean, it shows there's great people everywhere, and that's something that's lost during this time, and that I'm glad to hear that you was treated good up there and had a good time. Something I was looking over the other day. Let me find it here in my notes. I'm not good at all this stuff. Here we go. So I seen it just a few days ago that you was the first student at Barron County High School to receive the AP Capstone Diploma. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell me what all that entails, goes into that? Because I mean, to be the first at anything is pretty amazing. And Barron County High School's been around since, if I remember correctly, the 70s. Mm-hmm. They've been doing college credits for quite a while. But here we are in 2020, several years later, and you're the first. How did we get to this? What is this? I'm really interested.
Right. So the AP Capstone Diploma is, let's talk about the AP Capstone program at first. So the AP Capstone program consists of, are you familiar, first of all, with AP, Advanced Placement?
Let's just say we do.
All right, so Advanced Placement is basically college courses. Students will study college content, and for any subject, there's languages, there's math, there's science, there's just a variety of things. And students will basically take a test at the end of the year, an AP exam that scored 0 through 5, 5 being the highest. And then students will take the exam, and if they score 3, 4, or 5, they'll get college credit. And so that will help them get past any general education requirements when they get to college, or just get them some credits for their major. For example, the languages will help me get a little bit ahead in my major when I get to college. So AP Capstone is a new program, actually. I believe, if I'm correct, it was started in 2014.
Wow.
Right, so it's very new. But AP has been around since, I think, the 60s. So the AP Capstone program is very new, and it's as new as the AP Computer Science program. But AP Capstone focuses on research because a lot of professors, when students would get to college, felt that there was a gap in how well they could conduct academic research at the university level. And so the AP Capstone program consists of 2 different courses, seminar and research. So in seminar, you're learning the fundamentals of research. You're learning everything from how to cite sources in your paper correctly, how to write academically, how to use an academic tone. Whereas AP Research, you are writing a 5,000-word paper, and you're conducting your.
I'm getting writer's cramp thinking about it, Cody.
Well, at least it's all on a laptop, so your hands.
I'm going to give it a thumb on text.
Right.
But I mean, continue. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's okay,
you got to throw a little laughter in. I mean,
right, yeah.
This is amazing. Seriously.
Oh, yeah. And you conduct research with, you pick a professional in the field. So, for example, I was studying something along the lines of Latin, and I had met that professor at the. Actually, I met him before, and he invited me to his seminar in Lexington, but also agreed to do research with me. And a PhD student joined us too, and together we worked together to discuss the current knowledge in the field on speaking Latin. But we also wanted to talk about my original study and the research instruments that I could use to create my own study and write my own research report. And so I ended up passing the AP seminar and the AP research course. I got a 3 in seminar and got a 4 in research, which are both passing grades. And then I also took, for the AP capstone diploma, that just is a recognition to say that you've not only completed the 2 required courses for the AP capstone program for the research part, to say that you've learned research skills that will be useful to you, indispensable to you at the university level. But also you've taken 4 other AP classes, additional AP classes, and passed all those as well. And I passed AP English Language, AP French Language and Culture, AP Latin, as well as AP US History, and in addition to AP Seminar and AP Research.
Cody, that's a lot to take in, buddy.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I can sit here right now, and I mean, everything you've just probably talked about and everything just went right over my head. But I mean, but I know it in a way it sticks in, because I mean that's what we need. I mean, you know, we're going into a different time where, you know, we still got the people going out there and, you know, that, you know, shoveling the tunnels, you know, building the houses, the hammers and nails, you know, the carpenters, plumbers, all that. But the skill levels that's going now, I mean, it's going more right now. I mean, this is a different topic, you know. Look at all the research you're doing for vaccines, you know, for the corona. But you're doing research for other languages. You probably got a skill set that's far level than I could ever reach. Period.
I think anyone can reach it.
But I mean, it's just unreal. And you know, it was hard enough for me to learn how to speak English, right? I mean, we got our southern slang and all this. You've learned Spanish, French, Latin, some Japanese, some Chinese, and you got to throw in your Kentuckian. That's a lot. I mean, and plus, I know you hold down a job, I think, here at Freddy's in town.
Right.
How do you juggle all this?
It's a lot to juggle, but I think if you care about anything, at least this is what one of my teachers told me, if you care about anything, you're going to devote some time to it. And so I definitely care about these aspects of my life, and those are the ones I keep in practice most.
Well, I mean, that's great, you know, very great qualities to have. And I'm just curious, you know, you're doing the job here in town, you're doing your classes, and you're doing these online, I guess, college classes as well. What do you do for fun besides studying and working?
I study language. Honestly, that's the thing I do for fun. I would say that learning is part of it, but also getting out there and speaking with people is another. And with the technology that we have today, you don't have to go to these places in town. You definitely can, and I have with places like the Nacional, Número Dos, and just different places around town. I've been able to use my language skills. But also online, we have a lot of resources. For example, there's a lot of tutoring websites. There's a lot of places where you can just go to speak the language online. And so that's been a lot of fun, connecting with other people and really getting to use the language in a real environment. Because, you know, textbook can only teach you so much, but when you really get out there and use the language, you have to take stuff in, but you have to get out there and use it and consolidate everything that you've learned. So that's one of the fun parts of it, and that's what's most exciting, perhaps, is creating that output, producing the language.
And it's you know, I don't guess it's so new, but it's kind of, you know, been brought up a lot within this past year. I guess what you're just talking about, the virtual learning. It's becoming more and more advanced, and from what I'm taking from it, that's where you're getting a lot of your education from, you know, communicating with others and all that. I mean, do you see, you know, a day and time to where, in-person classes in schools might, go away to where it is more of a virtual base, without the pandemic
Right.
aspect, or, I mean, how would you feel about that, say a few years ago?
Right.
I mean, because I can tell you love school and stuff. I mean, what's your feelings on that?
Well, I definitely hope not. I've had some experiences with online learning. For example, my first experience with online learning was with KT Distance Learning in 2015 when I began taking Latin classes through that distance learning program. And some of these opportunities I wouldn't have had otherwise. Wouldn't have been able to study with a tutor from Guatemala, of all places, had I not been able to use Skype and use that tutoring website to have lessons with them and really get my Spanish to another level, something that I really hadn't seen in the classroom or in textbooks. However, I definitely hope it doesn't, because I believe there is still some value to having face-to-face education. A teacher-student relationship is something that is indispensable. You can't go past that, because if you don't have that, I don't believe that there's much else that goes on. I think the only reason I began to succeed is because I had this relationship with my teachers.
Yeah.
Because there was a day and time when I couldn't care less about education or any of that, but there was a day when I began to. So I believe by connecting with teachers and by having face-to-face communication, that's something that's necessary for the classroom. And it doesn't matter whether you're at the elementary level or you're at the university level. Face-to-face communication, you can really show what you've got in the classroom, and the teachers can bring their side too and give you that knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go away from the one-on-one instructions, and there's lots of teachers, I've had through the years where it was all the way from elementary up to high school. That, if I still see I speak to, I think back to fond memories with them. Had great times. See a lot of them out. Play golf with some of them every now and then. But it's hard to beat, that in-person relationship. And then, the camaraderie with your friends and stuff like that. You just can't get that with that environment. I understand with the situation that we're in right now, it's probably the best bet, for most part. And it's a good thing that we have that. And seeing the success that you had with it, gives me more hope, that our kids this go round, are going to have, a great education through that till we can get back 100%.
Right.
But going on to the next question I have, being this is your senior year here, I'm going to be looking at my notes here. And you're going to be graduating here pretty soon. I'm sure if you want to, you'd probably graduate right now, couldn't you?
I'm not sure about that, honestly. I've still got to get a few credits for English and math. I'm going to be taking...
You've got all that and all them Spanishes and Frenches and Latins, and you ain't got English passed yet?
Oh, no. I've taken all the English to this point. However, the senior year hasn't begun yet, and I can only take these English courses my senior year. For example, I'm taking AP English Literature, and the only math class I'm going to need for my major in college.
That's what they got to do to suck you back into the building. But it's all right.
It's all good.
But what I'm curious, Cody, have you chose a college yet?
I have gotten it down to two, and I'm leaning more towards one. I've got it down to Western Kentucky University, or the University of Kentucky, where I went in 2019. So it's down to those two. And there are some differences between the two, but however, I feel that Western Kentucky University is going to work a little bit better in my understanding. I visited there this last February, February of 2020. I took a trip there. I was actually, again, invited by the professors to come and see the college because I had some communication with them. They came down to the school and actually picked me up and took me to Western. Paid for my lunch.
Did you get you a steak?
No, I didn't get me a steak, but I got some good food, I promise. I got some food at a local restaurant there on campus.
You can tell I'm a connoisseur of foods. So, as long as you got a good meal out of it, but I know through the education and experience...
It was amazing, and that's really what proves to me that, I really feel that they were very hospitable there. And not only that, that's not really the reason why I believe I would be moving closer towards Western. It's also more local. So I would be able to stick it close to home, be more near family. So if I never need to come home, it's not that far of a distance home. However, at the same time, I also believe that the programs that they have, I would definitely be able to work with at Western. They have majors in Arabic, Chinese, and Spanish. I'm probably going for that Spanish major as well as since I have a lot of credits now, I think a double major would be, it would be very doable.
How many college credits you got right now?
I have gotten college credits for Art 100, my U.S. history credits. I've gotten chemistry credits. I've gotten some English 100 credits, like the first year of English credits. I've gotten some, obviously, Latin credits, some French credits, and then I've got those research credits, but those will be counted as electives, depending upon where I go, but they'll be electives, so that'll take off a little bit, or at least it should. And then I've got some other college classes I'm taking this year. I'll be taking History 100, for example, so that's my first year history course. Won't have to take anything else as far as I know. Hopefully I'll get some Spanish language and Spanish literature courses out of the way through those AP exams, so my major won't be quite as long. And then I've got a public speaking course, communications, and then I've got psychology. And then I've also got that math course that I'm taking as well, that will take off my only math course for college. So I've got quite a bit of credits. And so what I want to do in college is get a major in probably Spanish with teacher certification, because Spanish right now is probably one of the most taught languages in the United States, obviously, because it's taught in a lot of high schools. And so I think that's going to be a very big job opportunity. And even if not, there's still a lot of opportunities with interpretation. There's definitely opportunities out there for using Spanish, or any language for that matter, in the real world. And so what I want to do is get Spanish with teacher certification. So what this will consist of is me taking like 4 years of Spanish courses. However, hopefully some of those will be chopped off through AP course credits. And then I'll have to take an assortment of education courses and courses on teaching language. But if I do a double major in Spanish with teacher certification and another language with teacher certification, those education courses will be the same. And so will that general ed. And because I'll already have that, the other thing I'll have to do is take those language courses for the other language. So it's very doable to be doing a double major. And that will only increase opportunities in the modern world, because the more languages you can use in a professional setting, I think, the better right now.
Yeah, I mean, because
we're living in a global world.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, if you call in somewhere 1-800, it's press 1 for English, 2 for Spanish.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, it's growing right and left. I mean, just here in Glasgow, we have 1, 2, 3, at least 5 Mexican restaurants, 3 to 4, Spanish stores, with food items and stuff. I mean, they're everywhere you turn, we have a lot of different ethnicities, here in Glasgow. And people come to you all the time, and they're trying to talk to you, and I can't speak a lick of it at all. But it's good to know that we're going to have those out there, that know these different languages. So it sounds like you got to go, and you're wanting to go into the education field teaching languages, or are you wanting to go more into, I know there's lots of government jobs, say with the state, a lot of people have to call in and they have to press 1 or 2 for a different language, and you be an interpreter throughout the state or federal government. I mean, where's your mind going once, the diploma is handed? Here you go, Cody Smith, thank you for coming to Western Kentucky. I mean, what's plans after college? Because personally, not knowing what you got in mind, I think it would be a great loss to Glasgow if we don't have you back here doing something. Not trying to guilt trip you, but Cody, you're an amazing human being. I mean, I've never came across somebody that knows all these different languages, has worked with all these different professors, research, had a professor come get him to school and take him to a steak dinner. I mean, you ate steak, you ain't got to like it. But I mean, it's amazing. So what would you know, what would we need here in Glasgow to attract you to come back, or is that your goal and maybe want to teach high school foreign language, or what do you have in mind? I mean, I'm curious.
So I think right now, you know, I think one goal at a time, but I'm definitely leading somewhere, and so I'm going to describe that a little bit more in detail. So as I am going for a Spanish with teacher certification, that would lead me into teaching high school at first, and then I'll also have some other language. My choices are Chinese and Arabic, and so depending upon which one I choose, there are also different opportunities I can have with each of those languages, Chinese or Arabic. And so I'm undecided on those yet. For example, if I go to Western, I would have the opportunity of Chinese and studying in the Chinese flagship program, which is where I spent 4 years studying Chinese every single day of my college career. And then living in an environment where other people are studying Chinese, and then living in an immersion house where people speak only Chinese every day except for on Sundays. And then spending a year abroad conducting research based
What are they doing
on my
on
major.
Sundays?
Speaking English? I'm not sure,
I
but
mean-
because I'm unfamiliar with that aspect of the program. Anyways, I'm just joking.
mean-
though.
But the Chinese, they just not talk on Sunday. I mean, I'm curious. I mean, you know, you have to speak it all day long, you know.
And then,
That's interesting.
but with Arabic, I would also have the opportunity of joining the Arabic debate program at Western, where they go and they debate in the language, and then that's an up-and-going language too, and it's definitely something that the government likes to see. And so, at first, I definitely think I'm going into teaching high school. Whether I choose Chinese or Arabic as my double major with Spanish, I'm going into teaching high school at first. My dream, however, is teaching language at the university level and conducting research on the field, adding more knowledge to the field, seeing what we already know, and doing basically what I did last year, but at a university level, really conducting research on my field of specialty, whatever I choose to really focus on when I become a professor. That's really what I want to do. However, I can't, I cannot not acknowledge the fact that interpretation jobs are needed, and because I am going into high school at first, I am going to probably pair my high school teaching with some interpretation possibly during the summers. It's a summer job because the hospitals here in Glasgow need it.
Yes.
Different places here in Glasgow just need, the courts need it. So definitely, if coming back to Glasgow is an option, then sure, but I definitely feel that if I want to work my way up in education and definitely become that professor someday of Spanish or those other two languages, or possibly get a PhD in something like second language acquisition, I'm going to have to go other places as well. Hopefully, as you acknowledged, the distance learning, hopefully opportunities like that will be available.
Yeah.
So I can do a master's degree or a PhD online, and those are things that are up and coming. And I can just keep working at a high school level and then work my way into the university level and start conducting research and really contributing to the field, because that's my major goal, is to contribute something,
Yeah.
to the field of foreign language study, because it's something that's very important, and it's something that we definitely need more of, I think, in the 21st century, as we are such a global world right
Yeah.
now.
Well, here's the question I have for you. Well, it's not just for you, but I'm going to let you speak for not only your classmates at Barron County High School, Glasgow High School, and we got also Caverna including there. What, I'm looking to be on the city council elected this November. But right now, going into what could the city/county, what is different things that the city and the county you feel could get behind to help your class and the classes of the future? What is different things that we could look at bringing into the city, because there's several people that, graduate, they're not going to want to go to college.
Right.
But we got the technical schools, and they're learning some of these traits out there. But what is different, say, job-wise? I know we're in a technology-driven area.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about interpreters. We're needing them bad, you know, because I'm sure there's several people in your class that speaks some languages, probably not as much as you, but what is it that we can bring into a local level to help y'all be job ready right out of school, in your opinion, for those who would not look at the college area?
Yeah, so that is a little bit more difficult question. It's not something I've really ever thought about because there are already a lot of existing programs, especially at the high school, Barron County level, that will teach students how to get these different skills. For example, students are learning now how to code, how to do culinary, how to do a number of things already, and they're just going into these different pathways. I didn't choose a pathway personally because I always felt that college was more in my pursuit. Because that's what I've always felt, and that's what I plan to do. However, students right now have a number of options. They can do biomed, they can do culinary. It's a very popular one, and it's a very useful one in my opinion. Coding is a big thing right now. There's a lot of students doing AP Computer Science that I have no idea how to. I have no knowledge of that.
What was that?
AP Computer Science. Principles, and then they've got another course called AP Computer Science A, so they're doing coding at the college level as high schoolers, which is insane, considering that those are also people that are needed in technology, and I think it's fantastic. So we've already got a lot of existing programs, and I think that continuing the funding of such programs that allow students to go into these different trades, because maybe students are more interested in culinary and don't want to go into college, and just want to go straight into the workforce, using their culinary skills or using coding skills, for instance. They can definitely do this, and I say that continuing the funding and continuing the opening of such programs, continuing adding more programs, adding more pathways. Maybe students are wanting to go into education, maybe adding internships. These are a number of things that we could look at as citizens of Glasgow to allow our students to have more professional options, because not everyone wants to go at the university level and teach language. There are some people that would like to do these other things, and I think the high school level is where this really starts, and because there aren't things like AP culinary as a pathway for students is good, and that's just an example.
I mean, it sounds like, we got a lot of businesses here in town, and local governments and doctors' offices, and, they're all time getting stuff catered and stuff. I mean, it sounds like we should be using the culinary departments at the schools and stuff. Let these kids put their skills to use. I mean, let's call up the schools, put in an order, let these kids come and cater, get that experience. I mean, we could have the next chef, what's his name, Gordon Ramsay here in Glasgow, and I don't even know it, or Paula Dean. I mean, there's so much out there. I will have to say, I went to an event last year as a charity for the Boys and Girls Club, and the Glasgow culinary department, they catered the event, and I have to admit, that's probably some of the best food I've had here in Glasgow in a long time, and the service was great. I'm glad you brought that up, because I mean, we have that here at our expense, and this is such great experience that our young students could have, and they're going to be serving and preparing for some very professional people,
Right.
I mean, I don't know if it was catered the other day, due to the COVID coronavirus we're dealing with, but Senator Mitch McConnell's in town and everything. Usually when you have a big politician come around, you're having a dinner and all that. What great experience that could have been. Whether you're Republican, Democrat, we're not talking about that. What experience that could have been for some of the kids at the school
to serve a leader.
The Senate Majority Leader in Washington, D.C.
Right.
Instead of having it catered, no offense, I love you, Gondolier, but have it catered by one of our high schools. I mean, that would have been amazing.
Right.
And that could have been a lasting experience for you all. And I think that's great that the school offers that,
such program.
And it could lead into someone loving that so much that, right now we need some more mom and pop restaurants.
Oh yeah.
I feel that they're the backbone of Glasgow right now. Is our local businesses. I mean, they're keeping us going.
Right, and a lot of those students are already, preparing food for establishments such as I know Western offers a breakfast that's prepared by the Barron County Culinary Program. They prepared food when I was representing the Foreign Language Club at Homecoming. They prepared
Really?
food for that. They would restock food. They did so many great things, and it was, like you said, some of the best food out there, and it was prepared by the hands of my contemporaries, my colleagues, my classmates. So that was a really amazing experience to be able to.
That's awesome. Well, Cody, I mean, this has been amazing. Just knowing that your experience, I'm sure your mother and father are extremely, extremely proud of you and your family. I know I am. You're a great talent. This is your last year. Barron County going to be a senior graduating. I don't know what it would cost to keep you here and bring you back once it's that time, but I mean, you'll be a shining light, to our community here, along with all your classmates. I would love to offer that invitation. Anything that I can do to be a help, whether before election, after election, just as a friend, I do anything I can for the youth. I love our Boys and Girls Club. Help any way I can to keep y'all here. Make sure y'all have the jobs here you need. Anything we can do to keep y'all here engaged, to bring y'all. I would love to be a helping hand, and I'm sure there's others out there that will as well. Then I'm going to go into my last segment here. I'm going to call this the no bull section, where we're just going to trade blows back and forth. I'm going to shoot a top guy at you, and you just give me your first response. It can be 1 word, 3 words, however. Paragraph if you need to, but we ain't got to go that far. And then you can shoot one back to me. And this is not prepared, so this is just called the no bull, because we ain't going to throw no caters to it. You're up first, buddy.
So you go first. I want to see an example.
An example.
Right.
Favorite food?
Favorite food? Chinese food. Favorite actor?
Kevin Costner.
Oh, is it your turn? Or is it?
Let's see here.
You shoot one back there.
Yeah, I got to shoot one back to you. Place you would like to visit before you die?
Japan.
Why?
Japan, because the culture is so exotic. It would be a different environment, and it would allow me to be able to utilize some language skills that hopefully by that time I will have some intermediate language skills at least. And so, Japan. I want to shoot that question right back to you. Where would you like to visit?
I would love to visit Australia.
And why is that?
I love the way they talk.
That's good.
And I mean, I think it'd be great to travel through Australia. I mean, just watching different television series back in the day. I loved watching The Crocodile Hunter and just seeing how beautiful Australia is, and then just off the coast and looking at different things and the heritage. I mean, it's very interesting to me, and just to hear them say, "Come on down under, have a good bobby," just interesting.
Right.
What is the one thing you love most about Glasgow?
Honestly, because we have talked so much about education. Honestly, well, actually, I don't know. I think the community is possibly the best thing here, because a small town like Glasgow is going to be a little bit different, like you mentioned, from a big city. Like Lexington. And so, really having that small community here, and just having these people around town, not even really just in education. I think education, I meet a lot of people there, but other places like Freddy's, having these people that are really some of the reasons that I'm going into places like college. Having those people And having those people that are that community, that's probably the best thing about Glasgow, is having all these different people in different aspects of my life.
And you've had great support from Mr. Todd Steenbergen.
Yeah, great teacher, Todd Steenbergen. He's probably out there watching this somewhere because he's really involved in history and so.
We gotta say hello to your superintendent, Bo Matthews,
Bo
out
Matthews, hello.
there. Hopefully you're watching, Bo, Coach Matthews.
But everyone in the town, honestly, and I don't think I can attribute success to just one person. Maybe success at Freddy's I could attribute to someone different that I could attribute my success in language. So in different aspects of my life, but one person I can attribute success to, they probably don't exist because there's just so many different areas and so many different people that have helped me get there. So I can't attribute necessarily, but the community definitely is some of the best part about Glasgow. All right,
That is very true. I mean, there any which way you turn, that there's someone there. 9 out of 10 people is willing to stick their hand out, lend an ear, give advice, and care. It's hard to beat. But everything going on in the world, even here in Glasgow, there's a lot of animosity between, I won't mention, the no names like that, but some of our boards here in town and stuff like that, there's just too much hostility that can take away from the beauty of Glasgow, the beauty of Barron County and what we was and what we can be again. We do have a great community here.
Oh yeah, and it's the people that make up this community that can really change the community. They make this place. It's not the buildings in town. It's not the school. It's the people that really make a community. And so I'll shoot the questions back to you. Favorite place in Glasgow?
Ooh, man, that's a hard one, Cody. I would have to say, to be perfectly honest, there's 2 places. One, whenever they exceed the limits back up to more, when I can get back in and do some more volunteering, would be, our local Boys and Girls Club. Mm-hmm. I love the amazing work that they do out there, the love they show for our kids. Hello, staff, Boys and Girls Club. Y'all do an amazing job. Thank you for each and everything you do for our kids. And the other place would be sitting on the glider on my front porch. I love sitting on my front porch, especially if a storm comes by. It's hard to beat some front porch sitting.
Oh yeah, some good stuff.
Our last section of the No Bull. What is it if election day was today and you was needing to cast your vote and it came down to one person left on the city council? What would that person's trait need? What would that person's trait need to be to get your vote?
Well, I think it depends on their overall views, and it would definitely depend upon a number of factors. And so, because I am so education oriented, I think we deal a lot with how their views on education are. I think in Kentucky, having funding for our teachers, having just funding for educational programs is something that we definitely need, and having someone that's behind all that, having someone that supports that, is definitely something that I would look for, just to ensure that my underclassmen have had the same opportunities that I've had as a high schooler. And so it would depend upon a number of factors, but I think education being one of the most important for me, but I'm sure that if I gave some more thought, then I could definitely find other areas that would affect my vote. But I definitely think that would be the first one to come to mind.
Awesome. You get the last question from me.
Okay. I'm gonna try to make it something good. I didn't have this planned, obviously, so we'll have to think about it just for a second. Let me think of anything that comes to mind. What do you hope to do for the city of Glasgow?
Well, as my slogan, my thing for my whole election is, I'm working together to put Glasgow back on the map. Like I said, in the past years, our industry has left for one reason or another. It's time to bring that back. We're letting too many backdoor deals and the good old boy systems get in the way instead of going out there and fighting for people like you. Myself, and others. I mean, there's different industries enslaving. I mean, for example, Barron County is a farming community. One thing that I can take from my dad, he said one time when he started in the dairy business, there was over 400 dairies here in Barron County alone. He said right now there's less than 400 in the state of Kentucky. His position at the place he was at just got cut. Luckily, there was a different place that he was able to get onto. But we got to fight more for those values. I want to do what I can to reach out to those avenues. I know there's lots of people in this town that's got contacts. Using those contacts, what can we do to fill up some of these empty buildings? Do we need to go visit some of these people that owns these businesses? Hey, do we need to throw a tax incentive to you or help do a remodel to maybe bring the next business in here? Hey, you can do a night class teaching Spanish whenever you come back. Hey, look, perfect building right here, Cody. And the youth. We got to continue to build on the youth in our area. Like I said, the greatest thing we have right here in town right now, to me, is the technical schools that we got. Like there's that Barron County. There goes little Pan. He's just covering up the shot, little thing. Parker, you get a little Pan. But, teaching those skills is great. But there's a lot of these kids that's not going to have that opportunity that they would is if they do go through the Boys and Girls Club. So I think we should put more investments and dollars into community programs for our youth to get them ready. Make sure they are provided for. There's lots of kids only in our community might have 3 shirts and 2 pair of pants. That's not acceptable.
Right.
So I think more funds, whatever we can do as a city and a county to help our youth and grow youth would be great. More community outreach from our law enforcement, our city officials, be more transparent. I want to be out there working with our public officials. First day, guys short-handed, and I'm not doing nothing. Hey, let's go get the blue jeans on, load up. I'll get behind the trash truck. Let's do it.
Right.
Right now we're in a deficit in the budget. Here in the town, we got to find ways to cut costs. I don't want to see nobody laid off, but every little bit helps. We all got to work together, and that's what I want to see is Glasgow get put back on the map. And to do that, each one of us have to do our own part and work together. And it starts by helping young kids,
right,
all the way up to you.
Because that's what makes the community, is all these people working together, these different people of different qualities, these different people, they are what makes the community. These shiny buildings don't mean a thing because these people are the ones.
Just cut itself off.
But anyways, we'll looks like my camera died, but that's okay. We can keep going here. I mean, because I believe your mother's still recording, so we still got this.
Right.
But, you are right, Cody. I mean, you can have all the shiny buildings. You can have all the fancy names you want on parks, but without all of us working together for the same purpose, it's not going to matter.
Right.
2007, Barron County was the most rural county, was number one rural county live in America. Today, Glasgow is the poorest city in Kentucky, according, I think, to
2018.
2018, according to Forbes magazine and some studies. We should not be that way. We should not be there. We're there by lack of leadership. It's like this. They Donald Trump president, he said he was going to Washington, drain the swamp. All this stuff's been going on for years and years and years, and hey, he's the one getting blamed. He's been there 3 years. Stuff's getting done. Not comparing nothing to him, but how long have some of our officials been in their roles and offices and Glasgow keeps going down? I mean, are we going to keep electing the same officials to do the same bucket of do nothing? So we're going to put people out there that's going to throw something in a bucket of do something, and let's get things going.
Right.
That's just my opinion on it. That's how I feel. Cody, it's been great
It's
talking
been
to
fantastic.
you, learning more about you each and every day. You're a great young man. It's going to be a great pillar of our community one day, as you already are now. But I mean, the sky's the limit with you. I mean, I see you as one day probably labor of Secretary of Education for Kentucky. Whenever I get governor or something like that. He didn't tell me no. Sounded good. But thanks for being the first one on this interview on my campaign trail. I'm going to try to do a lot of more videos with everybody. Go talk to more people in the community, see what we can do to work on what's going on out there, what we can do to help others, and what we can do working together to put Glasgow back on the map. It's Josh Redfields here. Talk to you later. See you.